And let me thank the organizers for putting this summit together and for making it possible for all of us to be here to brainstorm on this very important subject matter. I thank them also for extending this invitation to me and for making it possible to make few remarks of goodwill. Let me say that this issue of provision of clean cooking energy for our people is a very serious matter. It's something that transcends health, because there are very serious health implications, which I must confess I didn't know until a few weeks ago, following my appointment as chairman of this committee and in the course of my interactions with stakeholders. Then I got to know that this is beyond provision of clean energy for our rural dwellers, most of them who are still using firewood to cook. It was then, Honorable Minister, I realized that my mom, who passed 2017, was diagnosed of lung cancer. And we were wondering, for a woman who never smoked, following our diagnosis in the facility, the biosal diagnosis facility that I built, took her everywhere in the world. She had a malignant form of lung cancer. And the following year, we lost her. And we were wondering, I was asking, even my daughter, who is also joining me here, what happened? This lady never smoked, never went near anybody who smoked. But few weeks ago, following my appointment and in the course of my engagements with experts and stakeholders, I now realize that she may very well have been a victim of this using unclean energy, cooking with firewood in the community for so long. So you see, my dear participants, this subject matter has real life consequences. I know that a number of people here, you are here in the ordinary and normal course of your duties. There may very well be business people here. We're here maybe looking for one business opportunity or the other, because there are business opportunities and we should talk about that. But you see, I'm here to remind you that using or prolonged exposure to unclean energy by most of our rural dwellers, and particularly our women folk, our mothers, our sisters, our wives, has real life implications. So this summit and the subject matter we are here to discuss is not mere statistics, it's not mere theory. Behind what we do here, there are real numbers. And there is a growing human tragedy behind all of this. And in my own case, and for several others who were victims, there are victim families and there are victims of exposure, prolonged exposure to unclean cooking energy, particularly by our rural dwellers, and more particularly by women. This is not special, this is not particular to Nigeria. It applies to all of the developing world. And it's also a major reason why people carry on felling trees. Felling trees for agriculture, yes, but another reason is also because people resort to using it as firewood for cooking. And then there is the health implication. So this is a very serious issue. And I want, on behalf of the committee, to thank the organizers for using this summit once again as an opportunity to enable us remind ourselves of what is going on in our rural areas. Most of these summits and interactions take place in cozy environments, like Abuja where we are, or in Lagos and so on. And I don't know how many participants are familiar with what is going on in our rural areas. And so for the organizers, I think the next summit, to drive home the point that this is actually an issue of rural development we're talking about. I would prefer that we hold this summit, the next summit, in as remote or in as rural a setting as we possibly can. I know that in the course of my interactions, the Vice Chancellor of Hensard University, newly established university in Bayelsa, is here. Professor Thiel, please stand up. His university has established a center of excellence on environment and climate research. And he whispered to me, and I'm sure after this interaction is going to have a word or two with the organizers and other stakeholders. His center of excellence is offering to host the next summit in Bayelsa. The advantage, and I agree with him, is if you go there, you will see real life consequences of what we're talking about. But if we sit down, most of you participants here may not have seen how rural women go into the forests and carry firewood on their back or on their head and take home, and how they cook with it on a daily basis. And you will also have, I'm sure, an additional advantage of being at the cradle of the petroleum industry. And as you all know, oil was first discovered in commercial quantity in that great state in 1956. So you will see the degradation, because here we are talking globally, generally, about environmental degradation. Just that this one, also in addition to people felling trees, what they do with it, as a matter of their ordinary course of living, also has a deleterious effect on their health. So this summit is very important. From the committee, I would like to use this opportunity to call for greater synergy and harmony on the part of the agencies. And I'm happy the Honorable Minister of State is here. The committee will have interactions with you as to how we can harmonize. Firstly, the agencies that are at the forefront of tackling this challenge, i.e., your very able Department of Climate Change, and then the newly established National Council on Climate Change. All stakeholders that have interacted with, donor agencies and development partners, are all interested in seeing that there is greater synergy amongst you, the stakeholders, and then also wider synergy amongst all partners, all the departments, all the ministries. For example, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Women Affairs in this case, because we can't be talking about this issue of clean energy without the involvement of the women, because primarily at the rural level, it's an issue of women. Most of the people who are affected are rural women. So we need to want to see greater synergy amongst all the ministries, the department, the budget, Ministry of Budget and Planning, and all of you. By the time I engage with the Honorable Minister, we'll work out the modalities. So I want to assure all partners that the National Assembly working together, and I'm sure my colleagues spoke before me. We are working together as one team to ensure that all the agencies and departments of the federal government are on the same page on tackling all the general issues that have to do globally with our national response to climate change agenda. All the stakeholders and partners that I've interacted with in the last couple of weeks following my appointment have expressed that concern. So I want to use this opportunity to assure all of you that we have noted that, and we are developing a template engaging with the ministry and the other related ministries and agencies to ensure that our national agencies are all brought together to be on the same page so that we can optimize our national assets and resources moving forward. I would like also to suggest and also support that we make this a serious issue for attention at the meetings of the National Economic Council. I was governor for 8 years. I know the positive use of bodies like that. That is where all governors meet, and there's no way we will sit down in isolation and discuss this without involvement of the state governors, and if possible, even the chairmen of local government areas. Because all the rural people, all those who are involved in felling trees, all those who are involved in using trees for firewood, are in the local government areas and in the various states. And I don't see why we shouldn't harness all of them and even see how we can support the provision of clean and effective and affordable alternative energy sources. We should look at that seriously. So, Honorable Minister and other stakeholders, that's a matter I think we should take up. The Vice President is the chairman of that council, and I think I would like to join the minister and others to drive home that point. There was a time in this country when the federal government purchased clean cooking stoves. I don't know how effective the management of that was, and I'm not here as an advocate of that, but I can see the need for it. The federal government, the various state governments, the various local governments must come to the aid of these rural people, especially people like my mom, people like our mothers, most of us, and our sisters, who they have no option than to use firewood to cook. By so doing, they deplete our forest resources, contributing to higher emission of CO2, and reducing the capacity of the forest, the environment therefore, to sequester carbon dioxide. That's one bit of it. But by so doing, they're also exposed to the health hazards that come with exposure to unclean energy. I think we need to work with the federal government effectively, the state government, and the local government areas to see how we can help them provide, and subsidize, if possible, affordable, clean energy sources for them. Before I take my seat, I would like also to say that there is need for the ministry working in conjunction with your counterpart, the Ministry of Science and Technology, to see how you can organize an exposition. Let us even know the valuable state of technology. Who are the manufacturers? Which are the products that are valuable? Let us have a fair on clean cooking energy. Let's know what our manufacturers, our local manufacturers, have been able to come up with. I'm sure most may not know. And if we are encouraging the use of it, then we have no option than also to see how we can encourage local manufacturers. Local manufacturers. We have no option than to encourage research. Our researchers, our institutes and universities need to be challenged. And our development partners, most of whom have better technology, need to also help us, not only in providing and dumping what may have been designed and produced elsewhere. That's not bad, we'll appreciate that. But then to see how there is transfer of knowledge and technology. But essentially, I think the starting point should be a kind of fair where we assess our local capacity. Our local capacity, well, we can't mention, you can't be discussing clean cooking energy in vacuum. It has to be connected to the private sector, and I'm happy that's part of the team. The private sector must be ready to play their role. The manufacturing sector must be ready. The research community, the universities must do their jobs, and I'm sure I'm very happy ENSA, the VC, is already offering. And there are many more out there. So, I think working together, we can achieve a cleaner energy for all of us. I thank you all for finding time to participate. And I wish you all a very fruitful and productive deliberation. And hope that moving forward, we shall take a clear pathway to see how this cascades beyond what we do in serene urban centers and in air-conditioned rooms like this. Let's see how it cascades to the rural settlers, whose problem, who are really at the forefront of this challenge. Thank you very much for your audience. And once again, the organizers, thank you for inviting us. Thank you very much.